Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. So Amrita, I have shared the trailhead link for you as you requested for the JavaScript trailheads in the reference material. So if you access this link and there you'll see a lot of trailheads related to JavaScript developer and go to those modules, you'll find the references in the end. And
Okay, thank you, Mohit.
okay. So all of us are here. So yeah, we can start. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, hope my screen is visible. Yep. So first of all, I would like to take a few contents from our last session and the assignment before starting this. So first, I'll go with the assignment. If uh, if anyone has any questions on that assignment or any doubts, or if you got stuck, please please raise your concern on that, and so that we can complete that and move forward. So no concern, no issues on that assignment? Or are we able to complete that? Yes, no, maybe doing it. Any anything?
So, Mohit, I didn't get chance yesterday to complete it, so I'm doing it. So I'll complete it today.
Okay. Okay, no worries. Anyone else? No? Okay, fine. So, okay, Vishbu is doing it. No worries. Fine. So, moving forward. So, yesterday, Amrita and Ravi raised a question on function scope and how functions are created and being used in JavaScript, and they had a concern that might be JavaScript functions are behaving differently in LWC. So at this is so Ravi and Amrita, we had connected after that, and I explained you that this is how it works in LWC. That is right, but you can also use that function in in LWC, and there is a way to do it. Okay, so yeah, and Manisha, you also added your comments that that they in LWC you are creating a class. That's why it's not accepting a function outside a method. That is correct, but we can still create a function in JavaScript. So for that, what you have to do is you have to create a separate util class, okay, in your project folder, just like I created this util.js. You can name this anything, but it has to be a JavaScript class .js with a JS extension. And
Yeah.
in that you don't need to import anything or add a export statement. What you can do, you can write your constant functions, whatever you want to write. Right? Like I created a calculate sum function here. Okay, and this is the same way I created, like it's shown on the web in several articles when you look for JavaScript. So it's the same way that I have created. And what I have to do is, in order to use that function in my main JavaScript class, I have to first import that like
Yes.
this.
Right, right.
Okay, and once that is imported, what you can do, you can directly use it in your methods. Like I have used it in my connected callback like this.
Yeah, this is usually how we do. I mean, at least in .NET, this is how I have used it because,
Okay.
like the util.js, we
Mm-hmm.
write all the common functions there so that we don't
Mm-hmm.
duplicate the same function over and over. Especially
Correct.
even we are doing it for designing. That's the way we design it so that we have a common design for all the forms. So I think that is how it will be done for LWC, right?
Correct, correct, correct.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that this common file can be used by other developers as well if their functionality is demanding this type of functions also. So what they have to do, they have to copy this util.js and add it to their LWC this folder. So this util.js was already there in my some other class. What I have, in order to use it, I have to add it over here, copy and paste it over here inside your component LWC, and then it will work.
So Mohit, the visibility of JS, what will be the default visibility? So it will be across accessible across all
All the
LWC.
project, yes, all
Okay.
this project, yeah.
So
So that's why you cannot use the, now I have created this util.js, okay, and now if I open another my component
hmm,
and if I try to import it over here,
hmm.
okay, see it will throw an error.
Okay, so it is not across a LWC component.
It is it's so these are the LWC component that we have created, and you
Correct,
have
correct.
this util is uh, the scope is limited to that particular component in which you are importing it. So
Oh.
like I have, this is my demo opportunity LWC component. If I have to import that JavaScript code in my JS file, then what I have to do, I have to create another JS file over here and add those functions inside it. And then add a statement, import the function name from util.
But if I have
Now,
to have the common JS
mhm,
across all component, is it possible in LWC?
across all the components, I have to check that
Yeah, yeah,
thing
please check
because,
my
yeah,
yeah.
I'll check that, but I didn't find anything.
Hmm.
Although I did those research on that, but I didn't find anything in the documentation. I might have to refer some other articles and see if that is possible.
Okay, I'll also check
So
it.
yeah, yeah, you guys can also check and let me know if that is because in order to do that, except import, we cannot use anything else. So I don't think that will work. But yeah, we can have a check on that and see how it works. So that was the one thing which I was thinking to tell you guys, that this is how it's possible. And but if you try to use those function directly in the JS class, then it won't work that way. For so now it will work like this. Okay, so that was the function, and now we'll go with the lexical scope and the closure scope that I was explaining to you yesterday. Okay, so this lexical scope basic is a fundamental concept that defines the accessibility and visibility of variables in a particular context. So in simple words, it can access the variable from the scope in which it was defined, not where it is executed. So by giving an example, I created this function. It has a variable, global scope variable as count. Inside this outermost function, there is an innermost function. Okay, and I'm trying to access this count variable. And then I'm calling this innermost function. And once this is the end of this function. And then I'm calling the outermost function. So lexical is an environment that is created by the function. Understand it like this. And if a variable falls in that environment, then the innermost function is can also access that variable. So that is the idea behind this lexical scope. And why this lexical scope was introduced? Because there is a dependency of closure on that. So the closure concept comes on top of lexical scope. What does closure concept says? It says that a function that has access to variables in its outer function scope, even after the outer function has returned, means this outer function has returned. This is the outer function and this is the inner function. Okay, now outer function, this outer function has returned this function. So once the outer function is returning something, its scope must be ended right there. But in this case, it doesn't happen like this. What it How it work is, it keeps the memory of that variable and with it, so that when the next time if you try to execute that function, it will give you increment. So let me explain you this function. So we created a counter and I added a count variable. Then this outermost function is returning innermost function, which is just incrementing the count, and then the innermost is also returning the count. Now when I'm calling the outermost function, so what should happen when I'm printing this? the function execution should be stopped right there. But when I'm printing that function again, it is giving me an incremental value. It means that the function is function has stored the previous value and now it's again incrementing it. That's how. But if I try to call that function again, it will create a new independent closure and I'll get an output of 1. If you want, let me just execute this and show you. So yeah, access count 0, access count, yeah, here it's 0. After that, counter A, output 1, 1, 2, 1. So that's how this closure scope works. It depends, it's a function that remember variables from its lexical scope, even after the function execution has ended. So that's how this works. The major use case you will find it is in when you will be using the user handle events, and inside that when you will be adding those document dot query selector uh, and then once the user has made an action on any button, and then when you are handling those, in that case these type of lexical scope and closure scope works behind the scenes. So that is the idea behind these things. Okay, moving forward with the ES6 plus features. So there are some ES6 plus features that we'll be using in our LWC component heavily when and that I'm going through it. First one is a spread operator. As if you remember yesterday, I demonstrated you how the shallow copy and the how the shallow copy works using the spread operator. So that way, this spread operator is a feature provided by the ES6 plus standard. Before that, it was not there. So this spread operator will be of heavily use in your LWC component, and try to use it as much as you can whenever you want to copy your original uh, original data to a clone data, and you want to keep your original data immutable. Next comes is a rest parameter. So the rest parameter is allows a function to accept an indefinite number of arguments in an array. Now, let me show you what does it mean. So I created an array with these three variables, AT, BT, and rest. And these are the values I have assigned. Now, rest parameter doesn't mean that I have to use this rest keyword. No, you can use test, you can use demo LWC as well. Okay, but the syntax is triple dots. This is the syntax for a rest parameter inside an array. Name can be anything, and but this three dots has to be present. Now what does this three dots mean? So when you have created an array with three variables and you have assigned these many values to it, now how does this demo LWC will have those values? AT will have 10 as per the index, 0 index. BT will have 20, 1 index. What about this demo LWC? Now, as this rest parameter, what it will do, it will hold the remaining values to it. So that means that's why we say indefinite number of values are added to the variable. Let me show you. Yeah, see here. Print 80, 10, BT 20, and rest 30, 40, 50. Because these are the three values which has not been assigned to any other variable, and we have just used this rest parameter. So whatever the values are remaining will be assigned to that rest parameter. If you keep on adding it, more numbers, okay, then rest parameter will, then these three additional values will also be added to the rest parameter. So that is the significance of rest parameter.
So what will be the business use case? When should we use this REST? Any
Uh,
example?
so business use case is based on like if you are building a multiple components and you are and you are accepting lots of user input data and you are storing that in an array. Okay. And now for few of the values are already mapped to some fields, but there are some values which are not yet mapped, and it's, I mean, you're not sure whether those values will be used in future or in the subsequent component or not, and what to do with those values. So what you can do, you can assign those values to this rest parameter, and then once and then you can use it as you get the use case. So it's so there is no such particular use case, if I would say, like that this will be used, but the significance of this rest parameter is that that it can that if you do not have any proper mapping of the variables to the values, then this parameter can contain all those unmapped values to it, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can use it as per your need. Now, suppose if there is no rest parameter introduced and we do not know, and I created an array, and then I have to every time I have to create an array with the variables corresponding to, I mean, with the values corresponding to the number of variables. If I remove this, then I have to add only two values to it. So that's how, yeah.
For input parameters, let's say I'm taking an input from the user, right? In that
Hmm.
scenario, is it useful or it is just for a business
No,
logic?
no,
Just
no,
for a
no.
business
It's not
logic.
useful in that case. No, no, no. Because
Okay.
you have a set of layout. You have proper layout design. You have
Uh-huh.
five fields, and then and every field has its own field name, and the value is that is user is entering. So that this doesn't work in that use case. It's just a
Oh,
business logic, or I would say a JavaScript feature that
hmm.
you can implement it in your business logic
Okay.
to make it more concise and make it more efficient, to make your JavaScript code run more efficiently. That's all. But no such any particular practical use case, I would say, that this will be used when you develop this type of LWC component. No,
Okay,
no.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mohit, can you show the developer
Sorry.
console for REST parameter? Can you please
Yes.
show us developer console? Okay, so we can.
Yep. So let me just deploy it and refresh it. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So I have printed the first zero index value, the first index value, and then the rest parameter. So the rest, I mean, the rest parameter, you can, in the layman terms, we can say that all the rest of the values will be assigned to this parameter, which are not assigned to any other variable. That's why it's called is rest. All the rest of the values will be used here. So currently, if you use any other variable, it will have only one value, Amrita, for you. So every variable in an array is mapped to only one value. But in case of rest, it can contain multiple values.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Kushbu. So this is how it will be.
Yeah, I have a question. So let's say I have an array on the 10, 20, 30, 40, 55. So I want to print from 30. I don't want to print 10 and 20 in my UI. Then how to do in array?
Uh, uh, Sorry, okay, I didn't get you. Can you please come again?
So let's say I have an array. array is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so I want to print in UI from 30. I don't want to print 10 and 20 in my UI page. So how to do, sir?
Okay, so if you want to skip the initial values, then
Yeah.
you have to add a logic. You have to iterate this. Or yesterday I gave you the array methods, uh, dot map or dot filter that you can use, and then you can skip those initial values by writing a condition that if the index value is 10, skip it, 20, skip it, or 0 or 1 index. I would suggest to go with the index value rather than hard coding the values. So you just want to skip the 0 index and 1 index value, then you can add that if condition there, and then the rest of the values will be used. So you have to add further logic, either using a array method dot filter or write a traditional for loop and then the if condition. So there
Okay.
is a for loop in JavaScript, for triple dots dot in, or for each loop. You can use those.
Okay, so then what's the use of the rest parameter? So we are just giving the in the second
So
line. That's just
uh, no, if you don't, so rest parameter is the one that will take care of all this. But you say you do not want to print these two values, right?
yeah.
So you don't, if you do not want to print these two values, then uh, and in these two values are already assigned. So basically I was giving you a solution where you don't have a rest parameter, or you are ignoring that rest parameter and you just want these specific values from an array. But if you have a rest parameter, then whatever the rest of the values will be used, then you can directly use this, no? Just like I added the statement. Put the variable name in a log, and then it will print those uh, values to the UI. You can assign this value to the like to the variable and print it.
Yeah.
So if I name this array to so yeah, see, like this you can print it.
Yes. Mm. We
So you
can
have to
do from
assign
here
that
as well.
parameter to
Yeah.
a new variable, and then you can use it
Mm.
further in your
Okay.
logic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can achieve from here like rest parameter as well.
Yeah. So the
Mm.
the solution which I gave you initially, I was referring to if you like in a bulkification process where you don't want to include few values or a particular value, and then you want to process those. So that way I was
Okay.
thinking, that's
So
why I gave you
the
that.
solution was like filter method.
Yeah, array in JavaScript has certain method, filter, reduce, map, and there are a couple of more. You can have a look on JavaScript page documentation. So try to use those array methods whenever you are working on array. That way it will be very, very useful, and the performance and your code will be optimized, and it will consume less characters as well. So it's better to use those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next comes is the optional chaining. So this is the syntax for an optional chaining, question mark, and then the dot. So what does this optional chaining means? It accesses an object's property or calls a function. If the object access or function called using this operator is undefined or null, then the expression short circuits it and evaluate to undefined instead of throwing an error. So
sometimes what happens, we are operating on any variable and we do not assign any value, or sometimes the values is not uh, or I would say not null or not undefined, then it throws an error, that undefined value, and when you load the component, it gives you an error. So in order to bypass that error, so what we use the optional chaining operator like this. So if you have a object like this, okay, and then and this is a hard coding thing. Now tomorrow when you work on a real project, there this thing doesn't work. Everything is dynamic. The data is either coming from a parent component or from the UI, and you don't want to make it hard coded. It has to be dynamic. So you put variables over there and you take an input from the UI and operate on that. So if there is no value entered on the UI and you clicked on submit and the value comes as undefined, then it will throw an error. So this optional chaining operator, what it will do, it will, if the value is not present, just like here, there is no dog attribute over here in this object, but we are accessing it. Okay, so it should throw an error ideally, but due to this optional chaining operator, it will give us an undefined value. Let me show you. Here it is, undefined. So that's how it saves your component from failing. And you can, because in this case, we know that there is no dog, so it will fail. But when the things are dynamic, in that case, it becomes a very, very useful feature. And using it will definitely save you from getting a lot of errors. And also you can add a further logic that might be, if the value user has not entered a value, what action should we take? So accordingly you can put further logic and print some toast message, or you know or you can add a validation as per the need.
Mohit, request you to zoom your screen little, please. Yeah, thank you.
Is it
It's better. Yeah.
okay? Okay, yeah, so that's how this optional chaining parameter works.
So basically, to avoid the runtime component error, we have to
Yes,
use
yes,
this. Okay,
correct,
optional
correct,
chaining.
very well understood. Yes. Just like we have a coalescence operator in Apex to prevent null pointer exception.
Hmm.
Similarly, we have this over here to prevent undefined or null errors. Null errors basically, or value did not found, those things. Okay. Next comes is the default parameters. So if you're calling a function and you're not sure of any particular value to be assigned to a parameter, you can you can assign your parameters with a default value if no value or undefined is passed. So here is a function that you wrote in your util class, and that and you have created a generic function, and you're not sure of what type of values will be coming over it, and you want to save your function from giving undefined or null values. So what you will do, you will give the default value like this. So this is a way to assign the default value to the parameters. In that case, if you did not pass any value over here, okay, then also your function will work. Because it can happen if multiple developers work, and when you are using the dynamic thing, if in the second parameter value is coming null or undefined, then also your function will not fail, it will work. And if there is no added check over there. Five. 5 multiplied by 1, 5. If I put 4, 20. So that's how this default parameter works. And this is the syntax of assigning the values to the parameters in a function. Okay. Let's check if there is any message. Okay. So now next thing is modules, the export and import. And these modules mean these are the import and export modules that we use in our that are provided by ES6 and that we use in our JavaScript file. So import is to get those file data into our class, and export is to export our class JavaScript class to the LWC framework so that it can be processed and further interpreted by the browser. So these are the two export and import methods are also provide export and import statements are also provided by ES6. So yeah, this is about the ES6 features that we have. Next comes is the decorators, but I'll be skipping this because these decorators uh, will take it once when we start with our LWC component and proper create component creation and all those things, chaining and communication. I'll take it. They'll take these decorators at that time. Okay. So as of now, we are moving ahead with our JavaScript features only. So I'll just proceed with that. Next comes is the events in JavaScript. Okay. Now, so far we are able now. So till now we are able to write a code in JavaScript. We are able to write a method and add our logic inside that. But and also using the connected callback, we are able to execute our method when the component load. Now, suppose the requirement is we do not want to auto load the methods that has been written in our LWC component, and instead we want that the method should be executed only when user action happens. So how do we do that? So for that, in the HTML file, we have to write a event listener on click and add a equals to opening and closing curly braces and add the name of the method. This is the syntax of writing an event in HTML that will be enclosed by a lightning based component. So currently I have used input. You can use button, checkbox, radio button, data table, anything. And these can be referred from lightning based component documentation. You do not have to memorize this. It's highly recommended to use the documentation because there you will get a exact syntax and the specification. This one should always go where in the left hand side you will get all these components which you need it for your project or for your functionality. So you should always come to this page and look for which one you need. I selected input. Okay, so here is an example you will get, and these are the supported formats that you can select based on your need. And in the develop you will get these are the supported formats, the HTML types, and if you go through these documentation you will see what all things are supported for this lightning input. Okay, so this is highly recommended, and in your entire career, as long as you're working on an LWC project or you're developing something, you should always refer this page and you should keep this tab open every time. Okay, so and these are the specification which says what all key attributes are compatible with this component, which one is not, what is the scope of this key attribute, how does it work, the return type. Okay, so all these things are mentioned over here. Suppose if you want to add a message in, and so those are the all those attributes are also provided. So these things you will be able to figure it out how to use this when you have a requirement, when you are trying to build that HTML. And suppose if you want to develop a form with 5 fields, and all these fields are different. One is input field, other one is checkbox, another one is a pick list with drop down. So, and also there is a validation of certain fields. So when you have all those requirements ready, and then when you are developing the HTML structure, at that time you would need all these details. So if you want to make any of the field as read only, use this key attribute directly and pass on the value. If you want to make some field as required, just use this. Okay. Select role sets on a this to have a type of text or role combo box. If you want to change the type, just use the role. Okay. So like this, you can identify and use it accordingly. Now, coming back to our events. So this is an event, and this is the method which we write in JavaScript. The entire logic of this method is supposed to be written in JavaScript. Okay. Handle click. Yeah. The method accepts the parameter of event. Okay. Now, the significance of using this event is if you are passing any value, and like this is an input field. So I'll be entering some value over there. Okay. Here, test. I want to capture this value. So I can capture this value with the help of, sorry, that's where this parameter works. The meaning of this parameter is event. From the HTML, the event has been triggered using this event method. And in JavaScript basically has received that action from the user. And through this event parameter, we are getting that value which has been entered by the user on the HTML.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever the user is trying to enter some input on the Lightning, uh, like pages, UI pages, so we're capturing those inputs as events, like some function along with the parameter as event.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, so is it applicable to the Lightning buttons also, or just only for the inputs like
It is
on change?
applicable. It is applicable to these user input values. For
Mm-hmm.
buttons also, this is applicable because in some cases you want to capture the action. What so suppose you want to throw an error as soon as user clicks on that button. Suppose this is a button, and as soon as you click on that button, you want to toggle it, or you want to throw out some error, or you want to show some message that if you're trying to edit this and you click on edit, okay, and then you want to show some message to the user, so in that case also you can use this event, but the syntax gets changed. Instead of detail
Okay.
dot value, yeah, you so there are two ways to get this event dot detail dot value and event dot target dot value, current dot target. So there are three ways: detail dot value, current target dot value, target dot value. Okay, the meaning of this will be explained once we start this DOM structure module.
Yeah, understood. So whenever we are using the events like on change, on click, or
Yeah,
we are the syntax is common for line number 190.
syntax
So
for yes, yes,
event
yes, yes,
dot.
and
So whether it's a detail, we are going with the detail dot name. Whether it's a target,
yes,
we are going with target dot. Yeah, understood.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So initially I used the event dot detail dot value. It gave me an undefined value. Okay, it means it has not captured it. User input. Yeah. So here,
Maybe on the Lightning
here.
page, we need to
No, no, it's here.
give.
It's here. You can see it.
So you will be covering the
It's here.
difference, Mohit, So you will be covering the difference of event dot details, event dot target.
Yes, that
Next.
is important. Yes,
Okay.
that is important, and this is will be covering it in DOM module.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, because that comes under that DOM module only.
Okay.
And this, yeah. So I'm as we are covering the events in JavaScript, so that's why I showed you how it is done, so that you can start with your assignments, and you should have a you are able to correlate it with the JavaScript features as well. Okay. So it's not a road blocker, and how should we use it? That's why I'm not going into detail on this. What does it mean? How does it work? I'm not going into that. I'm just showing you how to capture the value in a method that has been called from an event in HTML. So this is the way you can capture the tick value entered on a UI and
Okay.
use it accordingly. Just like I added Mohit. Mohit, you got it. But you have to click on it. You have to show some action on it because I have used on change, on click, sorry. I have used on click. So when you click on, after entering the value, when you click on it, then only it will capture it.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Okay.
suppose, yeah, I again clicked on it, okay, and I'm typing test. It's not capturing it because it's an on click. If I have used on change, then it would have definitely captured it because every time the value is changing, it will capture the entire text and using this event.target.value. Okay.
Okay. Ravi has raised his hand.
Oh, just in what situation I must use an arrow function instead of a normal function? Can I just survive by writing normal function and not use arrow functions? So arrow function is to make it more concise. Okay. And you can save, yes, arrow function and traditional function both fulfill the same purpose. But if you use traditional function with the array methods, it can increase your code length and make it more complex. Whereas if you use arrow function with array methods, it will be a single line of code. So it's just based on your how you're comfortable with it. I'll give you an example. We have a traditional for loop that we use in Apex or in Java. As you know Java, you're from Java background, you know how we write for loops in Java. Similarly, we have the traditional for loops also applicable in JavaScript. Also, JavaScript provides their own for loop features using for each. For each is more concise and it it's different from the for loop, but both fulfill the same purpose. So it's up to you being a updated developer and how good developer, it's highly recommended that you use the latest JavaScript features, and that also signify your capability and also how good your developer is. But if you are comfortable with writing your logic and making it work without any issues, that is also acceptable. Better way, that's right, Ram. Thanks a lot. Think it has some advantage over a normal function. So the advantage is, if you want to go into that, so advantages comes with a saving a character length. You save a lot of characters while writing a arrow function. In the performance wise, we I cannot comment it randomly because performance thing you have to calculate it, and that is something out of the scope of this training. Faster execution, we can say that, Ram and Ravi, but in order to come up to a concrete conclusion, you have to measure that performance using some of the parameters shared by JavaScript or refer to the JavaScript documentation if they have already defined that. But for each loop does not give you access to the index, so you can't do debug array I. Mm. So if you want, okay, so if you want to debug it, uh, then instead of using you
He's combining Apex with the JavaScript, right?
yeah, Right, right, right. Yeah. So, I think your major concern, Ravi, is on a performance and debugging thing. So, normal function is easier to debug. Okay, that is, but performance wise, it can it has to be faster. That's why the community has introduced this. And but if you want a concrete thing, then we have to measure that performance. I cannot comment on that randomly. No, that's not good. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so moving forward, so event thing, yeah. So this is how we do it. Event.target.value used for capturing input value. Detail used for capturing custom event data. If we are sending out an event and we want to capture the data, then we use the event.detail. That's why when I used event.detail here, it gave me an undefined value. Current target used for source element. So so I'll just give you a brief about it. So if we have multiple elements over here in our HTML, and those elements are enclosed in templates and multiple divs, then this event.currentTarget will take you to the source element. Like if I add, suppose if I add div like this, okay, and then again div, another div, and here if I'll write the lightning element. So my current target will refer to this div, the source of this, from where it has started. From the event, right from the top, from the where the event handler is attached. Okay. So this is all part of the document object modeling concepts will be handled.
Mohit, can you go to your component, please? I didn't understand your last part.
So last part was I was just giving a brief intro about does this event.currentTarget.value means. Event.currentTarget, what does it means? So it is used for source element. So I'll show you. So this is a div that
Hmm.
is there. Okay. And I have a button over here, and then the child component, child button, anything, and then the div again. Now, if you click the child button, event.target will capture the value
Hmm.
on the button. So Ram asked this question that if we add a button, then also this will work. So yes, I told him that yes, event will definitely work, and but the way to capture the value will be depend on this event.target. And event.currentTarget will be the parent div of this event, because this event is the parent is this div. Inside of this, only the this is the button where you are clicking on it. So who is the parent of this, I would say, block? This is the one. So from here, the target will be released, or I would say, when you use event.currentTarget, it will refer to this value, because here the listener is attached. Okay, the event handler is attached to this div, and from there it will navigate. So in order to understand it better, we have to write a HTML structure, and then we have to write a event method and use it in JS and use this event.currentTarget and show you how it will work.
Okay.
Yeah, because this one will be used heavily when you will be developing an entire UI in HTML using custom HTML table, or even if you are using data table also, but you have lot many things on your UI. So that's where this current target will play a major role. But as of now, you can just have an idea what does it mean. So it will always refer to this div.
Okay.
And whatever the value you have added over here, it will capture that value and show it you in a JavaScript. Okay. Yeah. So now comes is asynchronous JavaScript. That's the most important piece of JavaScript. And till now, if anyone has any questions, any concerns, anything they want to share or anything they didn't understand, because now the topic that we are going to start is a very, very important piece of JavaScript and also is very, very, very important as part of LWC development. Okay. So I don't want that if you have any backlog attached or any doubts in our previous sessions or how JavaScript code is being written, or I hope you guys are comfortable by in writing this JavaScript code in methods and the logic in JavaScript. Because if that is sorted, no, you will be able to grab the asynchronous features easily. Else, it will be very, very complicated to use it. You can understand it because I'll explain you in a layman terms. But if when you get a chance to use it, you won't be able to use it. So it's very important that you have those foundation developed and the basics, the concept is clear. So practice is on you. How much you practice, you will be groomed accordingly. But the concepts should be crystal clear. Okay, I take the silence as no. That's good to hear, and we'll proceed further. So, asynchronous JavaScript. So, basically, in our web or in our server side technology as well, we have two type of processes: synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is something that gets executed one by one. Okay, like we have an attendance. When a teacher takes an attendance, roll number 1, 2, 3, goes step by step, linear execution. And the asynchronous is when multiple tasks executes parallelly without impacting each other. And all those tasks executes independently and efficiently. So in layman terms, if I say that asynchronous operations will be when multiple vehicles are running parallelly, okay, and in their own directions. So we have 5 lanes on highway, and all in all 5 lanes, the vehicles are running on their own, and they should ideally they should not impact each other. So yeah, that's how the asynchronous operations run. And with that, it increases the performance, it consumes less resources, and also it gives a better response rate to the user. Coming back to our JavaScript, in JavaScript is capable of handling both synchronous and asynchronous operations. In synchronous programming, operations are performed one after the other. So before moving further, till now we have written so much lines of code, and I was parallelly showing you guys how the output is coming on the UI. I just want to ask from you, till now, does this code behaves like an asynchronous or asynchronous?
Synchronous.
Synchronous.
Yeah, synchronous.
Great. Thank you so much. I feel I was able to explain you properly. So yeah, thank you so much. It's a synchronous operations happening because every line of code is executing one by another. And that's why we are getting all these logs one by another. Okay. So like this, if you add a statements like this, test1, test2, test3 will be print in this order only. Okay. And in synchronous, every line waits for the other line will wait for previous line to get their execution completed. But now comes how question is how asynchronous will look like then. We are saying that in asynchronous, multiple processes run and parallelly. So in that case, how we can achieve that? So before moving there, I just want to give you tell you that Asynchronous operations improves performance, responsiveness, and allows efficient handling of time-consuming operations in a web application because all those tasks or threads are processing parallelly. So here is a example. I have written a console log. Okay. After that, I'm calling a web API, this method, web method, set timeout. Okay. When we use this method, it makes a call to the web API. Okay. And it halts, it basically takes a break of 2 milliseconds. The number that we put over here is in a milliseconds. Okay. That's another execution, or I would say that's another line of code. This is the line 1, line 2, okay, and line 3. So in case of asynchronous operation, the output would be like this: test 1 and then end test 2. Why? Because when this site timeout method was called, then it took, we have added 2 milliseconds of time. So it will wait for this much time. Until then, it will keep on executing the next statement so that we are able to execute the entire logic. And it will only wait for that particular method or function to get execute, and it will move further. Fine, I'm waiting for you, let me complete the other stuff. It's like that. So if we are moving, if you are going somewhere, and if someone stops and knotting their shoelaces, so what we'll do, fine, we are going slowly, you can catch up. So that's how things works in asynchronous. Let me explain you how it works in behind the picture, behind the scenes, in the back end, which is not visible to us. Okay, so this is a stack, web stack, which is responsible for executing the processes or the methods that we write in JavaScript. The queue that holds all the processes that will be sent it to the web or Java or the browser to get execute. And these are the web APIs, event handlers, listeners. Okay, this set timeout. There are other web APIs also that are being used to in JavaScript. So these are the web APIs that calls those methods and they put it into the queue. Once the stack executes their processes and it gets empty, then this event loop keeps on running and it keeps on checking whether the stack has a sufficient number of process to execute or not. I would not say sufficient, whether the stack has process to execute or not. If stack has process to execute, it will wait and keep the things in queue. Once stack is empty, it will pull the topmost process from the queue and add it to the stack. Stack will perform the execution based on the logic written inside it that we have written, and then it will display it it will give it to the browser and it will be displayed onto the UI. So that's how the asynchronous operations work. Hope I am able to explain you this differences and this terminologies and the basic meaning of asynchronous and synchronous operations. Any doubts? Okay. Yeah. So there are certain asynchronous functions that will be used in JavaScript when you will be creating a component, and those will be very, very helpful in order to build your component and make it more performance-wise optimized and good. So one of the function is callbacks. In your normal JavaScript, you write this function separately. So like you can get the syntax from a JavaScript articles and you will find that we do write this callbacks function separately. But in case of LWC, we already have those callbacks provided by lifecycle of LWC, which we already use it, constructor connected callback. Connected callback we have been using from last sessions. Then comes the disconnected callback, which gets automatically called when the component loading completes. Render. Render is to get the when the component loads and user wants to render the HTML part, and again based on the inputs, then this render callback is called. Rendered callback, error callback, when you want to show some error messages if your component is having and you want to show it, so you can use those error callbacks. We are already using this error callback when we are making an apex call, and we use dot then, and in the error, in the catch, then we put those error things. So we are showing those. So we are using this callbacks method functions in our LWC, and these functions are being used with respect to LWC. There are other callbacks function as well which are used, but those will be applicable to the JavaScript level. Okay, so these are used in asynchronous JavaScript to handle responses and ensure non-blocking executions. Next function comes is the promises. Promises, it's an object that represents the eventual completion or failure of an asynchronous operation and its resulting value. It has three states: full pending, fulfilled, and rejected. Based on the three states, we can display any message to the UI. The promise operation represents an operation that hasn't been completed yet, but it is expected to be completed in the future. Okay. So let me see if I have a... Yeah. So here is an example for the promise. I've created a method, okay, fetch data, and this fetch data, I'm calling it over here in a connected callback. Okay. Now what this fetch data does is it's returning a promise. This is a syntax of using a promise function. Promise, brackets, resolve or reject, arrow function, see, curly braces. And inside that we have used a timeout. If it's success, then resolve, then send this message. If it's not success, then send this message. Okay. And the timeout period is 2 milliseconds. So when I call this method in my connected callback, I have to use the dot then method. Okay. This dot then will make sure that we are handling the promises. Dot then and dot catch will make sure that we are handling the promises properly. Based on the response, I'll be putting up, or I'll be capturing that response and storing it in any other variable and processing it accordingly. And if there is an error, I'll be sending out a toast message. So that's how this promise function works. And we are already using this dot then and dot catch when we make an apex call, right? So yes.
So Mohit, when we are calling promises, that method has to be async, the way you have defined line number 16.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
That's you can remove that. And for this, I have to comment out this thing. So see, promise has nothing to do with this async, and it's not needed. It's
Can you
just
go to the promise method one more time? Okay, so the promise has two parameters. One is like resolve and reject, same as like the wire method data comma error.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are referencing the same thing in the somewhere in the callback method, and we are using
Correct.
it to like then and catch. It's kind of like try and catch.
Try and catch. And when we make an apex call, we do use this dot then and the what based on the result. So yeah, that's the same
So
thing.
it should be on the next line, like line number 24, 25. Is it so everything should be linked with each other?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Increase this. Ah. Next comes is the async and await, the most awaiting functions, or I would say the most important functions of JavaScript that we use, and we have to use it to make our process run efficiently. This async and await, it was introduced in 2017 as a more elegant way to work with promises. It allows you to write asynchronous code that looks synchronous, making it more readable and maintainable. Okay. When you add a async keyword before a function declaration, it becomes an async that automatically returns a promise. So we don't need to add a promise statement then, if you add a async on top of any method or a function. But await is needed. Await keyword can only be used inside an async function only. If you forgot async and you wrote await, then it will throw a compile error. It pauses. What await does is await pauses the execution of the function until the promise is resolved and then return the resolved value. So here is the flow diagram, how the execution works. We have an async function get data. Okay, inside that we are fetching the data, and we have added await. Await will keep your operation hold, or I would say it will wait. Fine, get me the data, I'm waiting for it. Until you do not give me a data, I'll not move. So here the execution has stopped, and function will wait for what's the response coming. Fine, I am asking Ram, I'm waiting, can you give me the data? Ram is saying wait, I'm processing it, just give me a few seconds. As soon as Ram handed over the data to me, I'll say fine, I got a data, promise is resolved. Whatever the Ram promised to me, he has fulfilled it. So now the execution will resume, and the data will be stored in my variable. And then the next line will execute. So if you see, this is an asynchronous operation, but with the use of async and await, we have made it synchronous. So that's how it works. And that's the point where I would like to recall one of my use case when I told you that when we make an apex call, and after that if we write a function, then the order of execution gets changed. So if you do not use async or await on an apex call, okay, like here, async. If you do not use this async or await, here I'm making an apex call, okay? And this opportunity data is just returning some value there, because that doesn't make sense. So I'm just making an apex call. Now, if I do not use this async and await, and after that, if I make this dot method demo2, this dot method demo3, okay, without using this sync and await, what will happen is my method demo2 will execute first, because apex call will take some milliseconds to get complete. And as the execution will not stop, so here asynchronous operation will happen, and my apex call will keep on running in the back end. Meanwhile, my these two functions will get called and execute, and then this will get called. So the value in the result will be populated on this line. Now, if I'm adding a logic over here based on my result value, or if I'm adding a condition and accordingly I'm processing the logic, it won't work. That was the idea when I was explaining you the guys on that day, although that was quite early. So now I think I'm able to explain you in a better way, and you will be able to relate it how it works, because That's how the async and await resolve those issues and make your operation synchronous.
One question, Mohit.
Mm-hmm.
So connected callback is my component life cycle, right? So this is connected callback will be called first when I'm loading the
Mm-hmm.
component.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that function itself is async, and then what will be the impact on the component loading? Uh,
No impact. No impact. Because this component is the first this is a connected callback is the first component to be loaded whenever the
yeah,
component is added to the framework.
correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
So even if you add async on the connected callback, it will not impact anything because connected callback until the connected callbacks because there has to be some reason why I wrote this async on connected callback because I'm making an apex call inside it. And after this apex call, I have few other methods to be executed. If my use case doesn't permit this, then I won't be writing this entire logic inside the connected callback. I'll be just writing another method which I want, like I'll be getting all the opportunity records, okay? And then I'll write separate methods again. So where I'll be using async and await instead of a connected callback. But using it over here is not going to impact any component loading, performance, or loading time. Okay. I would say that the reason why I used it because it was already there. So to save time, I used it. But to make it more clear, let's use it in a separate method. Okay.
Yeah, actually, my question was, what is the best practice to use async?
Best practice.
Should be at the method level or at any method level, even though it is a
Any
life
method
cycle?
level, any method level. It is not dependent on this connected callback or a life cycle. But you have to, the best and recommended way is to use async and await when you have further actions to be or further functions to be called after that. If you have only one user action or one thing to show on a UI and you're making an Apex call, there's no need to write it. There's no need to use async await. But if you have multiple things to happen, if you are making multiple Apex call, right after this, if you are making another call, okay,
Hmm.
call
Hmm.
Apex. After this, you are call Apex 1, call Apex 2. Then you are calling method demo 3, okay, calling function demo 4. So in this case, async and await is highly recommended because that this async and await will make sure that your order of execution is synchronous
Okay,
and you're
so
getting
after,
proper data. And also this will make sure your operation is synchronous and you're using the responses from this call to the subsequent calls so that you can make your business logic work efficiently.
so if my line number 41 is completed successfully, means if I
Mm-hmm.
get a result, then only
Mm-hmm.
42, 43, 44, and 45 will be executed, is what you are trying to say, right?
Uh, you can do that. You can do that if you want. So we have to use this like async after. So it's see, here we are not using explicit promise statement. It will
Hmm.
automatically do that in the backend. So what you have to do is, it's not like that if this opportunity detail return null or nothing, or there's an exception in my Apex, okay,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
returned error. So
Hmm.
what will happen? If so, in order to handle that, you have to write this result call. But suppose this is your use case. My use case is this happened. Okay, now I don't want to do anything. My method gets closed. That's it. I'm not doing anything. Or I'm just I made this thing in my and then I just want to do some other operations. So that's how you can do. But if this failed, then it's not like that. that your subsequent calls will not happen. You have to store those errors in your result, because it's not like that here I'm using result and then I'm not using it anywhere. That's why we use async and await, because if we are making a apex call initially and if we are getting any data out of it, we have to use that data in our subsequent logic. That's why we are making that call. So if you are
Hmm.
not doing anything with that data, what's the use of making you calling it? So if it gives me a successful response, if I have written a SOQL query and it's giving me a 5 records successfully, I'm fine. But if I'm getting a error in that no records found, then I have to handle that thing over here using a if statement.
Okay,
That if there
maybe
is no data found, then accordingly you have to throw a toast message, no data found.
yeah, one more question, Mohit. So what you are saying, if my method is async, if that method, let's say in connected callback, I'm calling three methods. Okay, out of that, one method is async. Middle, first method, second method, and third method. Second method is async. Okay, and first and third is they are not async. So first method will be executed. Second method is async, that will take time. So from method 3 will be executed. But whatever the further call in the method 2, that will be executed as a synchronously, right? In async, all the methods will be executed in synchronously.
Yes. So if I have made this connected callback back to async, and if I write this thing again, okay, then I'm making this await. Now, after this, what will happen is these method execution will take place like this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But this is a server call. So for
Mm-hmm.
now, I have used this. After that, this will happen. If after this again, if you want to make a server call, you have to write again await on that. So you have to again use await keyword on that. This async says this entire method is async now.
Yeah, entire method. Yeah, that's what my
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. This entire method is async. Inside that method, if you are making further calls, you have to you have to await use the await keyword, so that await keyword will make sure that this function will complete its execution, and then only I'll move forward.
Mm.
So so like this. I asked Ram to send me few day. I asked Ram to send me 5 opportunity records. Okay. So I made that async. I added the async tag on to the RAM. Then I'll sit and I'll wait. I'll not move forward because I have added async and also I have used await. I've enabled the await keyword on my door, that until and unless I'll not receive 5 opportunity records from RAM, I'll not open the door.
Mm.
As soon as RAM has given me, I've opened the door, I'll move forward. Now what's next? Okay, Amruta needs to share me some accounts record. Fine. I'll wait for that. I'll not move forward. Once I get it, fine. Now Ravi needs, now there is no async and there is no await on that, so it's open. Either Ravi can send me something, Deepika can send me something, and accordingly the execution will happen.
Mm.
Also, there is one more thing. If your method that you're calling here, suppose you're making a call to this method, and in this method you are making some callouts or another server call, then also you have to make this async or await, and you have to make sure that your execution happens. Also, another thing to keep in mind is after these things you are making this call, and this method is doing some operations which has nothing to do in accordance with this result. So you can avoid using await. You should use async and await only when you want to get the data and use that data in your subsequent lines of code, so that you can proceed with your logic. If you proceed to your, if you use this result without using async and await, you will not get the data at proper time, and you will not get proper output. That's the thing I told, that the order of execution is not defined because that runs in asynchronous mode. and that's why you can get different results. So that's why to make it synchronous, we use this async await. Let's wait for this operation to complete, and then we'll move it forward with this data so that you can use this data in your subsequent code.
So if we don't use the async keyword, so the promise will come to the picture, and we need to go with the then and
Ha,
catch. If we use the async keyword,
yes. It
so
will be automatically handled.
the await will get a special power, so you don't need to write
Yes.
the then and catch. So it will in the back end, it will execute.
Yes, very well.
So for the line number 20 and the line number 21, so if we use the await keyword, so then so it has to wait until the get opportunity details to be executed, like this method from the apex, until it won't move to the next step. So if something really happens, like in the line number 20, if you got any error or null pointer exception, so what will be the the rest of the lines? So it won't execute, or it will bypass and it will execute the next transaction.
So if something goes wrong over here, okay. So
Okay.
let's show you. Let me show you. That will make more. That will give you more clarity. Okay. Then
Because sometimes we are trying to hit multiple APIs, and some will get positive,
right.
and some will get
So here we are returning a string, and instead of this string, we'll return null. Null is not a string, it will throw a. So, we have to use some query over here. Okay. Where we use a particular record which doesn't exist. Okay. So that way, stage.
I think you can give opportunity name equal to some RAM or something, so it won't exist.
Yeah. Name. Okay. Let me just check. I hope it doesn't have this record. Yeah, no data. So okay.
So can you write one more console statement after the await method? So
Result is not defined. Let me just correct this component. We lot of changes over there. Remove this. Yeah, you were saying something.
so can you write one more statement after 20 line?
After 20, here it's already there, no?
Oh, okay, then.
Yeah.
So it won't execute the line number 23, like line number 25.
I think it has not thrown the error on the apex side. Yeah, it has not thrown the error. It has given the successful response. So in order to throw that error, wait, opportunity placed equals to error. Okay. I want to throw this query exception list of no rows found. That
So
where
it
we
won't go to the next line of code.
yes.
Okay.
Mm, and this 0. Mhm. Or that total log. Still the Apex is running. Yeah, there is no error. Mhm. We can do is
It will be empty list, right? Because
wait. Let's not initialize it and use it directly. Now it will not be empty. When I initialized it, that's why I was taking a blank value. Mm. Anyways, so this or other entity demo 2 enter 3. So our result async is here. Okay, it has printed the value because it's returning a 0 length. And let me add the security to that. Stop the execution. Mhm. Demo city controller. Okay.
Not sure. Yeah. So see, I've removed the access on this Apex class. I've removed the permission. So now as admin doesn't have access to this Apex class. Okay. And result async is not printed. Entered 3 is there, whereas entered 2. So I'm not able to access this Apex class. Okay. So nothing happened. When we make this call, total log, this got printed. When we make this call, the user does not have access to the controller, and then nothing got printed over there. It didn't move further. Okay. The method demo3 is printed because we are making a call initially. Let me comment it out. Okay. After this, we are making a call to demo2, which has this statement. Okay. Let me, so which is also not printed.
I think maybe it is trying to print only the 200 success values. Maybe you're not getting any 400 errors, right? So it's not.
Yeah, it should show me the error 400 error here, but somehow it's
You can clear the cache and can. Okay.
usually it shows here that you do not have proper access to this Apex class. It gives you an error in the console. But yeah, so this happens. In this case, we did not get a successful promise. So the subsequent methods did not get executed. I got this uncaught in promise. See, this is the exception came in promise. And if I go to this messages here, this is a different thing. Total log. So we have only total log got printed. After that, nothing got printed. So because you did not give me the data which I requested, you said there is some error happened and I'm still waiting. So as I'm still waiting, the people sitting behind me or standing behind me will also keep on waiting until I move. So this is the thing that you asked, that if this method Apex did not return a successful response, then what will happen? Will the subsequent code execute, bypass it, or not? So it did not.
Yeah, it will still wait and
Yes.
until the
So
execution
here, the problem
happens.
here is it's not showing the error in the log, so that developer won't be able to know what is going wrong. I have to add a debug log and see. In the debug log, it will
Maybe
show me. Yeah.
so it's
So
still on the await keyword, right? So it's still executing because it has to
mm,
execute until it
no,
says
no,
to
no. I
file
don't
or
think
something like
so. I
that.
don't think so. Let's add a debug and see. I don't think so. It will keep on waiting. That shouldn't be the case. Or I have
So
a
I think
log here.
we need to get
Can you
some.
add a debug in Apex, Mohit, so we'll understand whether
Mm-hmm.
what is happening?
Yes. Yes. That's what I is doing it. Okay. Let me check the log levels. I'll make it finest everything. No workflow not needed. Apex code finest. Fine. These are not needed. Save it. Okay. opportunity controller. Opportunity. Oh, is um, refresh. See, uncaught in promise, reference error, result is not defined. And this is, so here you'll get the entire stack, how it got executed. Okay. Promise then, method demo 2, promise then, but in Apex, no, we won't get that. It's still showing. So result async. And after that, there is no result is not defined. Ah, hard refresh and empty the cache. Opportunity controller. So true. Opportunity list is empty. Still, it's showing, it's giving me the successful response. There's no exception on there. So response debug and result asynchronous. Asynchronous, that happened. So yeah, there is no error came, although I was anticipating it that it should give me an error because there is no access to this class. Oh, why it is happening? Let me check. Oh, stage. Let's do qualified. Okay. Search column stage.
So instead of list, can you just return one opportunity, limit
Mm-hmm.
one, uh, and opportunity, just add a criteria where you don't have a record for an opportunity.
That's why I'm using that random stage value. That stage doesn't exist, that value.
No,
So
you're returning list, right? Don't return list.
mhm.
Limit one. Sorry. Limit one. Then you can have only one object return, right? Direct object return instead of collection. Just return opportunity. uh, remove limit one, and then you can remove this, yeah, and return, yes.
Okay. That will still, it should throw an error. Yeah. So, yeah, list has no rows. So now we got a failure and it has given me uncaught in promise. And after that, there is no statement got executed. This is the starting one, total log. After that, we got our async await has given a rejected promise. So in order to read this thing, from here you can get it, like what happened, what went wrong. So this dot promise dot then this happened and
Mohit, can you zoom it, please? Sorry.
uh,
Little. Ah, yes, thank you.
okay.
Yeah.
So in the logs, as we our apex, we made our apex to throw an exception. So we got an error over here. Uncaught in promise means the promise function has returned the rejected, which is not caught in your JavaScript code. Okay, so that's why there's error has came, and after this there is no subsequent code has executed. So now there was a point in the RAM you said that might be it is waiting. That's why it is not executed the below code. So
So it will stop the
uh,
execution and we'll get
it
some error.
it it no, it has not stopped the execution. It has raised the exception right at that point that your failure has not been caught properly. So correct that thing. So it has
Okay.
it has made several attempts. See, promise dot then set timeout. So and the pending script. So if I go back
So
to here,
it's not
let's
kind
me
of
check.
like a regular function. So the await function will keep on like a retry circuit logic, and it
Mm-hmm.
will try to attempt like 5 to 10 times, and then it will
Yes.
throw an exception.
Yes. After that,
Yeah.
it will throw an exception. So
Okay.
all these things runs very quickly in the backend, and then it has thrown an exception that this happened. Now, suppose you do not know how to read an error, and you are just reloading this page and seeing there's nothing happening, then it will become very difficult. So reading this will make you understand that my async await has got failed. Wherever I have used the await, that has got failed, and I have to check that line of code and see what is going wrong. If there is
So
an
we
Apex
have
call, check the debug logs. If there is no Apex call, if there is a JavaScript method that you have written, then you have to check that thing.
like more advantage like if you are calling the regular method with the await method, so so the await method will keep on trying to execute like multiple times before throwing an exception like exception on the UI. So we have you know like more advantage compared to the regular method, right?
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely. And it will not throw an error on the UI. I'm the user. Suppose I'm from the sales team. You are
Like
the
from
developer.
the
You develop
Salesforce.
this thing. So I'll just raise a case. See, it's not working.
Yeah,
So
understood. Understood.
then you will
Like
debug and you'll see. Yeah. So
like if
that's
someone asks,
definitely yes.
why
It
should we
will
go
save
with
you.
the red keyword
Correct,
instead of a regular method? We
correct,
need to
correct.
answer. Yeah, yeah, understood.
And also it will save your subsequent code also from failing, because if you do not use this await async, okay, and you have directly made a call, then what will happen? Your method demo 2 will get execute, demo 3 will also get execute, and after that this will fail. So it will your subsequent, and also if you are using the result in these methods, then these will also get failed. So you have a list of errors on this.
So if there is any dependency for the line number 20 method and line number 23 method, so we must go with the await keyword. So that's the best practice.
Yes, that's the best way. Now in my
Yeah,
case, these are independent. Okay, so let me try
yes.
removing this and see.
Because async, await, and promise, these are the main and crucial for
Correct.
JavaScript components, right?
For a JavaScript development, and when you are writing a LWC component, then it plays a very pivotal role. Okay, so here get details. I have to use dot then.
So Mohit, can you just explain how to put the debug points? Okay, I'm not saying debug console log, breakpoints uh, in JavaScript.
Uh, Here you want, if you want to put breakpoints or in the console.
Not in console. Breakpoints in
Here,
the code, and it should break. And I want to debug it. How to do that? Yeah.
so if you click on here, it will ask you click to add a breakpoint. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you add a breakpoint like this. And when you execute it on the console, it will work. Also, the best part is to add a log statement. That's
No, but
another way.
there is
If you
there
are,
is also another way, right? In console, you can go to source and put a debug point. I
so you have to open that file over here. Okay. So you have to open that component.
No, you can show this
Mhm.
working. Then can you just tell us? Means at least I want to know how to put the breakpoints in the code and debug it using the keys.
So if you can add the debug breakpoints like this by double clicking on the on the VS Code, okay? And in the console, when you execute this page, okay? This is not
Hmm.
a, this is a different component. When you execute a page, you also add a breakpoint like this, debugger. So it will automatically play it over. You will get a play option over here. I'll just quickly open that. This is our component here. Just give me a second. I'll show you.
Hmm.
So
Because when it comes to async
yeah,
await, right,
demo
that's a very
opportunity. Yeah, yeah.
breakpoints very matters.
Mm-hmm. So here is our, this is my demo opportunity JS. Okay. I'm putting the breakpoint over here, here, here. Okay.
Hmm.
This is a connected callback.
Hmm.
Now if I this, so see here. So this is to go to the next function call. This is to play your debugger, resume script execution. So if I click on play, it will see here. It has given us promise pending, promise pending.
Where
Okay.
where are- where are
So
you seeing this promise pending?
if you can see my screen in the
Yeah.
sources itself.
Okay. Promise
So I
pending.
have added a debugger breakpoint over here. Okay. By clicking on this area, it will get highlighted as a blue and an arrow. And you will, and when you refresh the page, which has a component loaded, added. So after that, it will give you this option, paused and debugger. When you click on play, it will execute. See, data fetched successfully. After this, it now it will move to these breakpoints only. First breakpoint, second and third. Okay.
Hmm.
After that, there is no other breakpoint, so it will stop. Let me show you again. I clicked on refresh. This is the first breakpoint. Okay. I
Hmm.
clicked on play. So it gave me promises still pending. That's what we discussed few seconds before. that it will make several attempts to
Hmm.
try to get a data, and that's why the promise value is pending. Now you can use this promise value in your if condition, and you can move ahead. You can put that if a promise is not successful or pending, then also I want to move. Just and I mean, just
Hmm.
so accordingly you can manage. But if you don't want, just skip this, and you will be. And if you want to know what is the promise value, what is going wrong, so you can get these values over here. And now I clicked again, so the next breakpoint which I have added over here is the log one. After that, if I click again, so it has came to this breakpoint, although this was not executed in our case, but as we have added a breakpoint, it was executed, and it has give us this data fetch successfully, fetch data. Okay, after this, if I play, it stop. So like this, you can navigate to your entire JS by adding the breakpoints from the console.
Hmm.
That is the quickest way. Other way is to add a log, console log, and to get those values. That's the other way. It's based on your how comfortable you are to do it. So it's up to you. But yes, being a good developer, everyone recommends to follow this approach. But it's up to you how you want to. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the issue should be resolved. The component should work smoothly, and end user should be happy. So that's the thing. Okay. So yeah, this is about sync await, and thing is I think we have cruised time. So yep, we'll be continuing on this async await tomorrow or in our next session if you guys want. We can I have couple of scenarios for this async await where this will be very useful. I'll be sharing those two use cases in our next session where I'll just give you a brief intro about those use cases. One use case is if you are making 5 Apex call, okay?
Hmm.
And so there are two ways. One way is you write this like this. Wait, okay. You write like this.
Hmm.
Other way is you can add, the syntax might be wrong here. I'm just giving you how it can be done. You can call all these function right over here simultaneously. So that it will make sure that all your Apex call are executed in a single line. And the await and all those things will depend, like you can control how the execution should work. Okay. So
The
this is a very
sequence,
important use.
so that you
This is
will explain next
yes,
session, right?
yes, with
Okay.
an example, because you won't get it
Hmm.
theoretically, and theoretical is it's not even it makes no sense. So I'll give you an example. I'll show you how it is done, and then we
Hmm.
can discuss over it. This is a very
Okay.
important use case because you will definitely have multiple Apex call, multiple methods call, and how you can achieve it. So that I'll explain you in our next session.
Okay, instead of
And
calling the single promise call, we are
yes,
calling multiple calls
in
in a
a
single array, and we are
single array.
destructuring
Yeah.
using. Yeah, understood.
Yes. Yeah. So that is very, very important and very useful. Okay. So yeah, that is the thing. So yeah, think that's all for today's, and I'll be sharing the assignment over the group that will involve a sync and await, so that you guys have an idea how to use it. And yeah, I think that's all from my
Yeah.
side for today's.
Yeah. One more thing,
Any
Mohit.
questions? Yes,
Yeah,
please.
for the assignment, whatever you give in the last class, right? So do we need
Mm-hmm.
to use the record edit form, or we need to create our LWC HTML data entry and create a contact record through? For me, it's not allowing me to create a custom object in my org. So I'm going to use a contact
Oh,
object. Uh,
Okay.
so it is saying its limit crossed, I think. I don't know why.
Uh, okay. So, record edit form can be, I mean, I would suggest to use both ways. See,
Hmm.
record edit form is something you have to copy paste it. There's nothing
Hmm.
you can do out of the box. Okay, out of the league. I would recommend to go with the custom HTML structure. That
Okay.
will give you better understanding and hands-on on how to write code in HTML,
Okay.
how to
So,
write the event handler in JS.
so
So
there we
it's
have to use event target dot value or event details is what my
no
for the.
event target dot value.
Okay.
Okay, and you can use any, like based on those data types, you can add the lightning component over here. You can add
Hmm.
paragraph, div, lightning card, make it more
Hmm.
impressive. So
Hmm.
that way you will get an more idea and more you'll get more comfortable with this writing code in HTML and also handling the events in JS. Right.
One more thing, maybe sometimes I will use the annotation word because I came from Java background, but you always say that at the rate
Decorator?
decorators, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that
it's a decorators. We call it
yeah,
event.
decorator. I always say annotation. Sorry. So that
No.
decorators, do I need to use
Mhm.
a track for that input or
Not needed now.
not needed?
Going
Okay.
with the Spring 20 onwards, they
Hmm.
before that it was needed because
Hmm.
to make those properties reactive. But
Hmm.
after Spring 20 release, they have
Hmm.
inbuilt it, so not needed. It,
So I can
you
have
want
just a normal global variables in JS, right?
yes, wire and API, we have not touched it. So if you want, you can use wire. If you do not make an Apex call, you can use wire. Like if you do not want to make an Apex call like this, imperative call, you can then you can just import wire decorator and use wire and handle accordingly. Track not needed.
Hmm.
API is not, we have not covered it. So that's up to you if you want
Yeah,
to explore.
yeah. Actually, I'm going to use contact, right? So I want to use
Uh,
associated contact to account. So I may use the API for record ID, and I'll
yes.
associate that contact because employee will associate it with company. So
Mm-hmm,
I'll do that in that.
yes, yes, yes. That makes sense. Yep, yep. And yep, that's it. Any other thing? Anyone?
Okay, I haven't tried all other functions, array functions and all. I'll try out, and if anything's are there, I'll
You
let you.
mean array methods?
Yeah, array
Those
methods.
map. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, that's fine. See, those methods you will keep on as soon as you practice more and more, you'll get a chance to use those. But yeah, I would suggest to get those things memorized, those methods at least, so
Hmm.
that whenever you get a requirement and when you start building the component, at least you should have those things in your mind that okay, fine, I know this array methods, I can use it directly. Else you will keep on doing the traditional ways as you are from Java, so you will always try to write more and more code, so that's not needed.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most of the people got dropped off, so yeah. That's it from my side.
Yeah.
uh
Thank you.
and
Yeah,
catch up
thank you.
later in our next section. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.